The Punchcard, user 391. This book contains content of a sensitive nature related to the Holocaust. This book is jointly published by Melodium House and written by user 391, who hopes you heed its warnings. This is a work of satire, and nothing in this book is necessarily true. I used to think of the sunrise and its promises of futures that came to us without our permission. Never did I think of the horrors that were to come. Because if greed is the fuel, then its proof is war. And the engine of war is a machine. The sunrise is so beautiful over Germany when it is low in the sky, but that future is erased, it seems. Poem number 1, The Dream and the Awakening. Frederick slept wrapped in sheets, dreaming of past as if the universe itself had long ago moved away, a conveyor belt of existence and all passing things. It was 1938 and the world had changed. A darkness over Germany, a shroud of some hell. We all tread toward unstable ground, visions and dreams forgotten so soon. Like a capsized ship, a fleeting doom passing through us. Until the end is here, worlds and dreams seem like a distant glow. The moment we look into that home, we cannot see, for the light was snatched out, for future becomes the past and drowns in mystery of where it had vanished, somehow to lost worlds, where we can never return, for we might go back, but we would return alone, to a void of poets gone forever. They no longer exist. D. Empty space, sinking in on itself, sucking all into its fatal nothingness, no sign of their presence, or history book on any shelf, but instead futures are tantalizing, their calls are heard, in minds with echoing halls, a power at all costs, to be found for this temptation. Worlds are enslaved, taken and stripped naked of all they provide, for infinite gold comes with infinite pride, and Frederick Combs was lifted from a deep place in his sleep, Rene Carnel there to interrupt his dreams. Poem number 2, Rene and Frederick sat together at the bar, drinks in hand, remembering old times long gone, for growing up together in a world being torn apart, two paths on one journey, two halves of their own hearts, splintered and battered. But friendship remains, a burst into action. When the other was in need, a torch in the darkness. To find a way for salvation, for they would sit together long ago, writing stories together, crafting worlds to conquer and worlds to share, a foreboding, a silence for what might overcome their worlds, when meaning itself was plain on the page, when wars were for nothing, all had forgotten why they were waged, a twisting, a finding, and final burning of the past, in bonfires of truth, weeping up toward the sky, for the sights around them were not beautiful. No, they were eternally lies, for the crater where the soul used to exist, gone so long ago. Emptiness cannot be penetrated, for you'll slip through like a cloud. No substance, no hole, just a bottom of a bottle, an empty, piercing silence. After such wanton violence, gratuitously given in the sword and the flame, but waged today with weapons mightier, no mercy, no face. For the party began to sober, and the black cloud began to rise. Two brothers, not by blood, but by the shifting of tides, walking away drunk, and blind to the dark, give to those in unbearable pain strong drink, for perhaps they will forget their misery. Poem number 3, Rene walking through the midnight street, away from the bar, heart starving, for times long ago. A world that has vanished is a world never known, but is the past all we hold on to? They came for all the others until at last they came for you. A hatred, a burning, a truth burned away, smoke to the sky, is incense to God, alone of the truths that were written here, until the lies burn away last. Truth was the first aroma to float up to the sky, reaching some universe, and no, we don't know its name. A halt to the panic, but embrace of the pain, to never rebuild on earth so scorched. For the people who lived here were targeted and burned away, now empty storefronts, no more pattering of feet, of children just victims, of the void inside the soul, of a man scraped away. But what is flesh but an extension of soul, stripped from the body or burned so quickly no one can comprehend? The loss of a child cries in the dark, of the ones should abundantly love. Tears streak the pages. My pen roars in sorrow of a world uprooted, mercy unfound. So turn your ears from that stage. You will only hear darkness, of void that becomes forgetting of compassionate grace. For my daughters, I must guard and protect as their light from above, across stars and what worlds. From demonic throngs, I am the dominion, a union of light, grace born to her mother of Jewish descent. Melody sings in silence, her own song as well, for they will soon find a torment far worse than hell if anything happens to my daughters. It will be their eternal demise, for a father is a protector of his pure and innocent children, Edelweiss. Poem number 4, I came to Mr. Combs with tears in my eyes, begging to find a way to protect my daughters as the nation readied for war, the death fugue as a mixing ocean, all of us caught in its irresistible pull, holding me in its chokehold, its pain and unending memories of hands reaching out, of machines fighting to clutch us, no heart and no whole, a lost alleluia, no verse, no refrain, just sinking forever in its unquenched flame, for I begged him to rescue them, to save them from the void. To come, he listened to my words, put his hand on my hand, would forge some records to protect them from their wicked hands that grasp in the other torture and guns, bringing hell here by choice and snuffing out the sun. Poem number 5. The factory belt moves on and on, fresh punch cards produced to be sent off in trucks. A machine to be built to filter information through, sorting in eternity names and events, memories of beauty, treated as no regard, just a number on a page and a punch in the card singing the praises, and prophets of Dehomag, the workers placing punch cards. On the factory belt, a silence that followed, and in the quiet of night where beauty abided, but only in its own time, for some monsters are. Swayed by venom of soul, a brutal destruction, a blood-stained face of power that writhes, for to them we are numbers, no face names, an entropy inside, of voices begging to be heard, but instead silence in the night. Poem number 6. Miriam and Melody, names on a punch card. Sleep, Melody, now, and dream of lands far away, for voices are power, and yours springs like flame. Miriam, the world has many spaces where feet have not marred. The world of adventure is calling your heart. Meanwhile, the tabulator roars, calculating coldly the fates of us all. I accept wholes as sentences. Blank and 11 instructs me to hesitate. 4 marks a Jew, 6 for disabled. Marks are for death. Hell's mouth open wide. Sleep, Melody. Count 2s to 4. Sleep, Miriam. Keep 1 space more. For Mr. Combs broke the tabulator. To mark them 9 and 12. No darkness could touch them. No peril could find them, safe until war would break the hold of death. A hell song's blight, a scourge on earth's soil, purged in the flames, and hands reaching out for those who have lost their hope. For the tanks rolled into Austria unannounced, a bitter taste in the soul, sovereignty taken away. How such hollow depths in the heart could grasp us so tightly, and the night was now falling. No hope for that son. The future is broken. The heart is undone. Poem number 7. Tonight is not like other nights, as Moses has taught us, deliverance through water, but ours is through fire. The German officer approached the foreign distributor asking for more assistance. From the foreign chairman, their friend, he sat them at a table. They dined in the night, laughed about times in Germany. Better days had been seen, but business was business, and war was approaching. Agreements had to be made to obscure the lines, to break the perception of the public eye. One thing Watson said in America, another to Dehomag. Written statements, deceptions, no sight through the fog. For darkness of heart, a bankruptcy of soul. I never could understand how this happened to our world. Hate left untested, no one standing in the way. Blowing up homes and enslaving those in their way. Poem number 8. The officers knocked on the door, where Rene and Combs slept, and banging sensation in the night, no choice but to answer. Combs opened the door, and they came in and sat at the table. The lead officer asked them, with a smile on his face, a proposal, a job offer, but more than a suggestion. The officer laid out the specimens, cards like bread, on the table. We need both of you to support our operations. Germany will thank you for your service. To Dehomag's system. Combs listened, so tense, fingers tapping the table. The officer pointed to the punch card. These columns are clean, just data on a card. Information is power. Mistakes will be noticed. Poem number 9. Under the light of the candles, Rene paced the room. Combs so distant, mind drenched in contemplation. Nightmares filled Rene's mind, a spell of eternal waking, breaking his mind into something of another substance. It's a chemical change into something twisted from light. Images of those lined up like ducks in a row, soon to be victims of execution one after the other. One by one they fell. As their children were lost, the tears from Rene's eyes would destroy him completely. A breath that fell hollow and dripped from his eyes, dipped in the pool of whatever fire eternity harnesses. And if tears are eternal or vapor for hell, Rene would never know. Just writhe in their pain until we are certain of their permanence. We eternally writhe in their pain for drops from the sky, of rain or of blood, stories of the past, trampled and broken in the mud, for sing me a lullaby. Rene knew he could never comply, but they had to work together, to act like they were playing along, to slow them at least somehow in the night. The silence that followed, except for the low purring of crickets, a wild truth that follows and its memory will vanish forever, if only to be held for a moment, like his daughters in protecting arms, like a castle of bones that are useless without a soul. But now we hear forever the low and bitter droning sound of the bombs in the distance as war begins and takes all the time it needs, a hatred that festers and burns. When it bleeds, poem number 10, a few marks on the map, pointing here and there, marking locations, marking off exits, but there was no clear path, no way to escape. Germany an open prison, aside from the dreams and sleep that it cradled, an impenetrable cell, what once was a home, a room without windows, just walls upon walls, taunting their makers, and the masters of the dogs, waiting to be called to search the streets. Every corner of this small nation, the hunt was about to begin, but all Mr. Combs could do was sit back and watch as the drum began to beat out of rhythm. To the march of those dogs, a world engulfed in their search parties, like the licking of the flame burning past Germany in a foreign rage, unknown to all worlds except for the black floor of hell. A silence that follows. When the dogs took flight through the streets, searching for victims, they took the disabled first, along with their children, who they crucified and burned, and the silence that followed was not like any the world had ever known. The world picked up the shovel and dug a grave for itself, for in tears it cried, forced to dig the hole, but a hatred that would burn forever was kindled inside. True hatred is only spawned from the love a child, a mother's cradle, a father's wisdom and guiding hand, turned and directed instead, away toward something, affirming of what was lost, but bitter tasting, forever seeking the child and her well-being. After such cruelty and violence against innocent souls, such violence will kindle in the heart of the father, such holy fire will flow through the mother and destroy them utterly, slit their throats, until all that is left is less than atoms, no memory, for the memory of the child lives on in the heart of the mother and father, and all those dogs will burn in this fire, for the truth of love is found in its vengeance, which alone is mine. Or so says the Lord. Poem number 11. A drop of rain from the sky, splattering the ashes from charred remains, the last of what remained of our law, until the angel of the Lord comes to judge the world by fire. For the staff of Aaron and the crown of David, grieve with me on the golden path. Somewhere on the streets we do not understand. No compass to point me, no time, no seasons, no faces, just confusion. But maybe there was something before called love. For this fear of death is common to us all. If only your hand was reachable from across the vast expanse that forever has become, for the roaring of tabulators tracks us down, no escape from the terror of the night. Mothers crying for their children are gone, no consolation, just permanence, and what follows is dry bones. Poem 12, Miriam and Melody, my two brave daughters, fleeing hand in hand, somewhere in the night, walking through fields, where they pass through the wind, gentle breeze on the blades of grass in the night, but also a roar of howling wolves, hotly pursing. They will find refuge, I hope, but my doubts start to creep in. They comfort each other with songs of their hearts, for the love of family brings together what no hell shall take apart. Not even this one. In the final state of Germany, a patient heart waits even now for a triumph. Poem 13, version 2. The drops of rain on the windowsill are always the same, whatever world we find ourselves submerged inside. The echo of the water is the same. Nazi troops marching through the streets of D.C. and New York, books burning in the streets, trials lasting 5 minutes before the execution, Constitution burned, and its flames sing their hymn to the sky. Cries of children silenced by the impact of bullets in rapid succession. The disabled Americans were the first to be targeted, lined up for the firing squad, for their perceived value was less than nothing, a darkness fulfilled, and the passion of the flame put out forever. Or thus was the world the Nazis tried to summon under their tight grip and cruel magic spell. Poem 14. Combs and Carnel start sabotaging the efforts of the Nazis, break the machines with a wrench, the language of metallic destruction, to preserve life, no have found, not even in dreams, but the workers or angels eternally fighting to lead us away from the burning fires headed toward us, consuming all that we hold dear, the struggle against the machine, and we are running out of time. Our disaster is one nightmare away from its fatal conclusion. Let no machine stand so that we will be unknown to you. May we slip into the night forever in hopes of finding a safer shore. Poem 15. Each second that passes is in itself a torture. Time hides what will happen inside its shroud. But the future comes for us anyway, unwilling victims all. I mourn that future for what it could have been. We are sinking deeper into the anxiety that grips us, A seizing motion, a fear that takes hold, drowning us in its cold ocean. The future comes, leaving us nowhere to run, only impossible choices, and sometimes no choice at all. I mourn my mistakes, but I mourn what time has done most of all. The verifier operator walked into the room, checking our work on the Punchcard machines. He examined every seam. Marks are for death, names to the slaughter. But we hid as many as we could, just like I hid my precious daughters. Each name was loved by someone, impossibly held. In the suspended arms of time, love would not be erased, blotted out by this violence that seizes us when we least expect. The operator took 2 steps back, and my heart stopped dead. He stared at the punch cards, brow furrowed. "Something is not right here," he said, so I ran far into the swallowing night to find Mr. Combs, hoping we might survive. Poem 16. I found Frederick deep in his study, reading books about wars of the past, looking for answers about the death they bring. What purpose is life if not to escape the hell that has come to earth? I came to him with tears on my face. "Please," I said, "my daughters are in danger. They are not safe from the wrath to come." Frederick looked on me with compassion, told me my daughters would survive. He owed it to me. He would lead them not through water, but through flame. But 2 daughters had run off in the night, following fireflies and visions of peace, in a world consumed by violence more bitter than flame, peace in surrender to love. The world had lost, to protect what is precious, no matter the cost. We searched and eventually found Miriam singing old songs of her youth and Melody behind her in the barn house. Tears welled in my eyes. Then we heard footsteps somewhere in the distance, soldiers approaching. I yelled Frederick's name. At first, no response. Then he appeared between the soldiers, his words a kiss of death. "I'm sorry, Rene," he said, "but this is where my loyalties lie." I screamed as they took my pure daughters away. Such violence in my heart, quenched like a flame, struck over the head with the butt of a rifle. And that was all I ever knew, my mind forever silenced. After credits scene. Omaha, decades later, 2011, a coffee mug on the table. Beside a legal pad, Mr. Combs enters the doorway and asks, "Which line should I add?" A cold answer comes through, and Mr. Todd Combs walks away. Off to a meeting, he runs down the hall, leaving the paper on the table with 3 words to be seen. Option C, form fragment, clerical punch card echo. Form 13F, excerpt, Schedule A, additions, Act, Berkshire Hathaway main account. Date, November 1st, 2011, Field 11. Issuer, International Business Machines. Shares, 64 million initials, WB. Filed, the end.